Hi, this is Babs from Journey Church, and we are continuing with our spirituality, the 12 steps. We are on step 10 this week. Let's go over my personal biases and disclaimers. So, first off, I'm sharing my experience, strength, and hope related to the 12 steps in spirituality. So, please take what you like and just leave the rest. Two, I think we're all powerless over something or some things. We all have different addictions, whether they're internal or external, in my opinion. Three, I love and follow Jesus, and I believe that God, Christ, higher power, the creator, universe, spirit is bigger than anything that my human mind can fathom. So I use those terms interchangeably and with gender inclusivity. And finally, this series is meant to be interactive, so I hope you're reaching out to someone. You can always get in touch with me if you want to at babs@journeysac.com. All right, so since we're on step 10, I am going to skip reading over all the steps. Hopefully you'll listen to one of the other series in the series, and you can see where we've been. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's read step 10. So it says, step 10 says, continue to take personal inventory, and when we are wrong, promptly admitted it. This is a step of patience and perseverance. So let's break that down. So continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. The Bible verse that I like to associate with this, comes from Psalm 119:59. It says, I consider my ways, and I turn my feet to your testimonies, or to your ways. So the psalmist is writing about reviewing their life and considering what they're doing in their life. It's not living without being an unexamined life, as it's been said. It's being aware of what we're doing, and kind of having a guide star pole of where we want to be and what we want to do in our lives. And so we turn our feet and our heart towards those ways. And in the AA Big Book, it says, Step 10 suggests we continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. We have ceased fighting anyone or anything. Even in the Big Book, it says alcohol, but it would be even anything that we are powerless over, whatever it is, you fill in the blank. When we get to step 10, it means we've already done the first 9 steps. We've taken care of our past. We've cleaned it up. And at step 10, we are walking firmly into this new way of life. They call steps 10 through 12 the maintenance steps. It's what we do every day of our lives as for those of us who are in the program. And I think it's for those who want to live a spiritual life too. We have to continue to see how are we doing? Are we considering what we're doing? And is it in the way that we want to be living? And so the steps give us, guidelines of how to do this. So we're watching these steps for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And we deal with them immediately. We work with them. We don't just say, we're going to deal with them later. No, we keep working on these. So it keeps me accountable and connected to my behavior. It is the step or not even the step, but it's also in a spiritual life, the way of giving us, like I said, this new way of life day by day. Let's look at a little bit more about what types there are and what types of 10-step kind of work you can do, and just a little bit more about it. There's this quote that says, for the wise have always known that no one can make much of their life until self-searching becomes a regular habit, until they're able to admit and accept what they find, and until they are patiently and persistently try to correct what is wrong. Let me read that last part again. Until self-searching becomes a regular habit, until they're able to admit and accept what they find, until they patiently and persistently try to correct what is wrong. Because that's where that concept of patience and persistence comes in. It's this part about being aware of what we're doing in a regular daily life. It helps us create habits. There's a verse in Psalm 139 that says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Examine me and know my anxious thoughts, and see if there be any offensive way within me, and lead me in the way everlasting." These are the ways that we continue to look at ourselves. The step 10 does. So there's different ways. There's things like some people do a daily inventory, a daily searching. So some people do it in the morning, some people do it in the night, some people review the day, some people look at the day that happened previously. Other folks do what's called a spot check. So what is happening right there in that moment. That's the one that I usually do. So like if there's some emotional turmoil, I figure out, okay, am I being, what did we talk about last time in that last quote? It said, where am I feeling selfish, dishonest, resentment, or fear? What's popping up for me, and turning that over to God and asking God to help me with that. Some people do weekly or semi-annual or annual ones. These are for longer standing difficulties. So you're continually working on one issue that you have. Let's say you have an anger issue and it's something that you want to work on for a longer period of time. That's also a type of an inventory that you can do, like a personal inventory. But normally we want to try and do these on a daily or a spot check basis that happens multiple times during the day. There's an acronym that I sometimes use. It's called WADA. So watch, accept, discuss, admit, or take an action. So that helps me when I need to look at what it is in my own life in that moment. What is that anxious thought in me? What is that thing that's being offensive in me? Now, we don't want, we're not looking for like perfection. This doesn't need to be like this kind of Debbie Downer kind of thing. This is actually helping us to live the life that we can live. There's this great quote from Richard Rohr when he looks at this. In his book, he says, what is it with these steppers? It felt like when he first started reading Step 10 that it was kind of like us navel gazing, like more and more looking at what's wrong with us. But really, it's not that. It really is about living this new way of life, and it can be a joyous thing to do. Step 10 if we're doing it right. So Richard Rohr says, wisely, Step 10 does not emphasize a moral inventory, which becomes too self-absorbed and self-critical, but it speaks of a quote-unquote personal inventory. In other words, just watch yourself objectively, calmly, and compassionately. You will be able to do this from your new viewing platform and perspective as a grounded child of God. From this most positive and dignified position, you can let go of and easily admit your wrongs. You are being held so strongly and so deeply that you can stop holding on to or defending yourself. Don't judge. Just look can be your motto. This is the beautiful way to look at Step 10, this daily examining of our consciousness. It's a beautiful way to look at our spiritual journey. In other words, just watch yourself, he says, objectively, calmly, compassionately. We've done all this work in these first 9 steps. This is where Richard Rohr says that we can, from our new viewing platform and perspective as a grounded child of God, from this most positive and dignified position, we can let go of our wrongdoings. We don't have to defend ourselves because we are grounded. We are not regretting our past or wishing to shut the door on it. We aren't being shamed by our past. We're taken care of on a daily basis. The issues and the wrongdoings that come up, and we're taking into account also the positives that we do on a daily basis and giving thanks. So this Step 10 is really about that daily growing closer to becoming less and less of my small self and more of my true self. More and more I let go of those things in me that are keeping me from living out of that true self, that grounded self as a child of God, that can walk not perfectly, but with progress, going forward and being able to joyously admit when I'm wrong because it doesn't affect my self-esteem anymore. Joyously admit, that if I've made a mistake, that it's okay. Again, it's not this moral inventory, but just a personal inventory. How am I doing at the spiritual goals that I have? First of all, do I have any spiritual goals? What do I want to do with this one beautiful life that's been given to me? What do I want to take from my birth to my death when I go to the grave? For me, it is developing that spirituality that will carry me forward, knowing that God and I are connected. So there is nothing to fear as I let go of this world and let go of this earth when I die, but also that I don't have to hold on to it while I'm living it. I don't have to control, I don't have to manage. I can just be that grounded child of God more and more each day, enjoying even the hard things. That life brings, because they also cause me to grow and to let go of parts of me that have blocked me from that, what we call in the 12 steps, the sunlight of the Spirit. So we'll be looking at that next week, what it is to live in that conscious contact with our higher power and with our God. Anyway, I hope that you have heard something that will be of benefit for you this week. And let me close us in the saying of the Serenity Prayer. So God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.